Ever wanted to use Xenophage as your primary weapon with unlimited ammo that creates hundreds of Warmind cells so it clears the room instantly whilst chaining multiple Warmind cells one after another? Well, you came to the right place. Now wait, I will mention that you can adjust this build if you don't have Xenophage. I will give you alternatives as we go along the setup shortly. But with this build we will be using Xenophage as your main weapon for generating Warmind cells, whilst using those Warmind cells and Xenophage to maximise your boss DPS and add clearing to extreme levels. In addition to enhancing our fusion grenades and being able to throw them pretty much at a stupid range. Yeah, let's move on. But you'll also be using a new Season 14 Elemental Solar Wells to increase ability regeneration on top for harder activities, and your match game shields will no longer be an issue. Now guys, rate, comment, sub and share, and let's start. Now when you're using this build, you preferably want to use your Xenophage only when you really need to, but 9 times out of 10 you can use this as your primary weapon, and you should always be getting ammo back fairly fast, but just ease off a little if you are getting low on ammo. Either way, you should be spawning a lot of ammo with this build setup. Now before we start, if you are familiar with my builds here on the channel, you'll know that I'm about to mention that I do these every week, so if you want to see more and you like what you see, there's a playlist linked below. Why not go check it out if you want? But now let's move on. So I have created a similar build like this before this season, but I wanted to go back over that and instead create a new Warmind Solar build for the Titan using a few different mods and exotics. But with this build you will be able to effectively use Xenophage for both ad clearing and boss DPS with pretty much unlimited fusion grenades on top. So as always, starting with the loadout, we are of course using Xenophage, which will help us create Warmind cells, but if you don't have this or you don't want to use it, replace it with a solar rocket launcher, grenade launcher, or any solar heavy that can cause explosive solar damage. Otherwise you can use a solar energy weapon with a Firefly or Dragonfly perk instead. For this build specifically though, we will be basing it on Xenophage for maximum efficiency. Moving into the subclass, you can actually use any solar tree of your choice. I personally went with top tree, but you can use whatever you want. The only requirement though is that you do need to use fusion grenades, so make sure that is slotted on. For the exotic armor, we are using Ashen Wake to improve fusion grenades. We'll get to this soon, but for the helmet mods, we are using global reach so that our Warmind cells affect and damage enemies at a greater distance. And this is what really makes Warmind cells good at clearing ads in the room, as it really does kill ads from a really stupidly long range. And I will also mention the mods that we slot on can go into any armor of your choice as long as it's the correct element. So if it's a solar mod, it needs to be in solar armor. But alongside global reach though, we are using double machine gun ammo finders so that we can keep our Xenophage topped up at all times. Now for the gauntlets, we are using Ashen Wake, where fusion grenades now explode on impact and gain increased throw speed. Final blows with fusion grenades grant grenade energy. A pretty good exotic that I personally have actually never used before, I don't think, but it's way better than you think, especially for what we are planning to use it for, which is to be part of our Warmind build, and those fusion grenades will generate Warmind cells as well. For the mods, with this though, we have Well of Light, a new Season 14 Elemental Well mod, where picking up solar elemental wells grant increased regeneration for a short time, and then our champion mods if you need them for the activity you're going into. If you don't need them, slot on Impulse Recycler instead, as this will guarantee you that you get your fusion grenades back instantly when getting kills. For the chest, we are using Explosive Well Maker, which is another new elemental mod introduced this season, where rapidly defeating combatants with explosive damage spawns a solar elemental well, which works really well with the fusion grenades and our Xenophage. But with this we have double machine gun reserve mods. Now for the legs, we are using the rarest mod in the game, which is Rage of the Warmind, which adds additional solar damage to the explosion of Warmind cells we destroy, alongside our machine gun scavenger mod. And lastly for the class, we are using the Wrath of Rasputin Warmind mod to be able to generate Warmind cells from our splash damage, which is 100% required for this build to work. And with this we have energy accelerant, so our explosions deal more damage, as we are an explosive build with Sundering Blast to cause explosions when stunning champions. If you're in a different season, adjust these to what you currently have available. But I also forgot to mention that you can also use Sunshot with this build if you don't have Xenophage. This will work just as good, But for your stats, max out Discipline, so you always have those fusion grenades available at all times. So overall, this build is pretty fun to use in all activities, and it's really effective in Legend Lost sectors as I used it. You literally don't have to worry about match game shields or ammo, and you can just shred through everything quickly and easily. So if you struggle with Legend of Master Lost sectors, this should really make your life easier in those activities, because those Warmind cells destroy everything in your path, and there's a high chance that after destroying a Warmind cell, you'll just create another one, and then just chain them over and over, and it pretty much just plays the game for you. An easy 9 out of 10 for this build in endgame. But guys, that is all for this quick Titan build. Next, you want to go check out the playlist for more awesome top builds in Destiny 2. But for now, leave a comment of your favourite Titans Warmind build, and let me know what you think of this one. Drop a rating, subscribe and share for more, and I'll see you guys as always in the next one.